This ship is not just a weapon. It's a floating city, an air base, and a symbol of power. So how strong is a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier? Imagine a city floating on the ocean. Now imagine that city can launch airstrikes. That is a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier. It's not just a ship, it's a mobile military base, and it's one of the most powerful weapons ever built. The United States operates the largest aircraft carriers on Earth, bigger than any other nation's carriers, bigger than some cities. But size alone doesn't define strength. So today, we're asking one question. How strong is the U.S. Navy aircraft carrier? An aircraft carrier is a floating airfield. It allows aircraft to take off and land at sea, anywhere in the world, no permission needed, no foreign base required. Wherever the carrier goes, American air power follows. That alone makes it powerful. Let's talk size. A U.S. Navy carrier is over 1,000 feet long. That's longer than the Eiffel Tower laid down. It weighs over 100,000 tons. That's more than most warships combined. The flight deck is massive, bigger than several football fields. Fighter jets launch from it every day, even in rough seas. Few ships in history compare. U.S. carriers are nuclear-powered. That changes everything. They don't need fuel for decades. Yes, decades. One nuclear refueling can last over 20 years. That means almost unlimited range. The carrier doesn't stop. It doesn't slow down. It stays on station as long as needed. This makes it incredibly hard to counter. The real strength of a carrier is its aircraft. A single carrier carries around 70 to 80 aircraft, fighter jets, electronic warfare planes, surveillance aircraft, helicopters. Each one has a mission. The main fighters are modern jets, fast, precise, deadly. They can strike targets hundreds of miles away, from land, from sea, from the air, all launched from one ship. This is called power projection, the ability to influence events far away. A carrier strike group can arrive quietly and change the situation instantly. No invasion required. No warning necessary. Just presence alone sends a message. When a carrier arrives, the world pays attention. But how does a carrier defend itself? After all, it's a huge target. The truth is, it's never alone. A carrier sails with a strike group, destroyers, cruisers, submarines. Each layer protects the carrier. Radar detects threats from far away. Missiles intercept incoming attacks. Close-in weapons defend as a last line. Air patrols guard the skies. Attacking a carrier is extremely difficult. Carriers are packed with advanced technology. Radar systems track hundreds of targets. Communication systems connect fleets worldwide. Information moves instantly. The carrier becomes a command center. Decisions are made in real time, across oceans. This gives the U.S. a massive advantage. Strength is not just steel and technology, it's people. A carrier holds over 5,000 sailors. That's a small town. Pilots, engineers, medics, technicians, everyone has a role. The ship operates 24/7. No pause, no rest. Human coordination makes it work. A carrier can operate for months. Food, water, supplies, everything is stored on board. Aircraft are repaired at sea, engines changed, systems upgraded. This self-sufficiency is rare. Most militaries can't do this. The U.S. Navy operates carriers worldwide: Pacific, Atlantic, Indian Ocean. No other nation has this reach. Some countries have one carrier. The U.S. operates many. This allows constant presence. At any time, a carrier is on patrol. Combat history. U.S. carriers have been used in real conflicts, not just exercises. They supported operations for decades, providing air support, destroying enemy positions, protecting allies. History proved their value. When land bases weren't available, carriers filled the gap. U.S. carriers are never finished. They are constantly upgraded. New aircraft, better radar, improved defenses. Even older carriers receive updates. This keeps them relevant. The newest carriers push limits even further. Aircraft carriers are expensive, very expensive, but they deliver unmatched capability. One carrier can do what dozens of bases cannot. Mobility equals flexibility. Flexibility equals power. There's another kind of strength, psychological strength. The presence of a carrier changes behavior. It deters aggression. It reassures allies. It shows commitment. Few weapons have this effect. Can a carrier be sunk? In theory, yes. In reality, it's extremely difficult. Multiple defenses, constant movement, escorts everywhere. It's one of the hardest targets on Earth. Jets launch every few minutes, day and night. Landings are precise, even in storms. Pilots train for years. One mistake can be fatal. Discipline keeps operations safe. Future carriers will be even stronger. More automation, better efficiency, new aircraft types, unmanned systems. The carrier will evolve, but the concept remains. The U.S. didn't just build carriers. It mastered carrier warfare, training, doctrine, experience, all combined. That's why U.S. carriers dominate. Other nations are catching up. But the gap is still huge. Size, technology, experience. No fleet matches the U.S. carrier force. So how strong is a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier? Strong enough to project power globally. Strong enough to operate independently. Strong enough to change history. It's not just a ship. It's a system, a weapon, a base, a message. Built to last. Built to lead. When a carrier sails, power sails with it. That's why it matters. That's why it's feared. And that's why it remains unmatched. Steel alone doesn't make power. Technology alone doesn't make power. People, training, experience. Together, they do. The U.S. Navy aircraft carrier is proof, floating, powerful, relentless. From the deck to the depths. It defines naval dominance. Few machines ever have. So next time you see one, remember what it represents. Not just strength, but global reach, control, influence. That is real power. And the carrier delivers it. Every day, every ocean. No borders, no limits. This is why carriers matter. This is why the U.S. leads. And this is why the aircraft carrier remains the king of the seas. So let me ask you, would you want one protecting your coast or facing one at sea? Drop your thoughts below, because this debate never ends. Power evolves, warfare changes. But for now, the aircraft carrier still rules. Ocean to ocean, horizon to horizon. Silent. Massive. Unstoppable. This is naval power. This is American sea power. This is the aircraft carrier. Stronger than steel alone. Stronger than numbers alone. Strong by design.